Hi, Aquarius. I have a reading for you today. I want to start off by saying that you will know that this reading is for you if you feel as though you've been working on healing your inner child lately. And if some of that healing has had to do with you learning how to stand in your power, I have this inner child card that showed up in your underlying energy. And interestingly, I also had this will card coming out side by side with the inner child. What was so striking to me is that the girl in this will card looks as though she is totally harnessing her mischievous inner child. She has this mysterious mask on. She's giggling into her hands. She has this energy of defiance, of standing her ground, not necessarily looking to fit in. So if this resonates, it feels like this is an important energy that you've been working on allowing yourself to harness and to step into. This looks like really beautiful inner child healing to me for you. And then what I have along with that is unbothered and enamor. And so it's kind of like what she seems to be sitting in, this unbothered energy of what I'm going to say is love. It's sort of like, I'm just going to be over here loving on myself. Things that might have bothered me in the past, I'm not going to let them get under my skin. Maybe I'm even going to laugh it off, not in a mean way, but in a playful way, because it just truly doesn't matter anymore. What matters is how I feel about myself, not how you feel about me, sort of thing. So along with that, it seems like it's given you this new perspective. You have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man can speak about there needing to have been a pause so that you could stop and see something from a different perspective. Maybe this is a little bit of how you've learned how to adopt more of this energy as opposed to being bothered, the opposite of this card, by what other people think or what other people say. All of this really feels like it's allowed you to heal some aspect of your inner child, which is very beautiful, a very beautiful way to start off your reading. It feels like it's created a new beginning for you and that it's aligning you with your purpose. So really, this is a bit of a sneak peek into what I see on the table, because again, this is all sort of underlying energies to just get us started. But what we have in your first row in your reading is armor up and clear your energy. It feels like this was an energy that was influencing you in the recent past, maybe even the energy that led you here to begin with, which then allowed you to tap into this. It seems like you had an experience perhaps in the not too distant past that really had you going into your cocoon for some protection, for some reflection. This is that Hanged Man energy. But remember, this is where you ended up receiving this illumination. This sort of feels like that energy wrapping itself around you. She has her eyes closed and she's just sort of like bathing in her own knowing. She's tapping back into herself, into her center. And so what it feels like that experience also brought out in you, along with this, inner child sort of playful, mischievous, unbothered energy, is this King of Swords. So to me, this is like the inner child healing. It's sort of like allowing external energies to roll off of her shoulders where she might have really taken it to heart and been stung by it in the past. But in terms of inner parent, it feels more like this King of Swords energy is what you arrived at. The King of Swords, I have written down here, sovereign mind, aligned with God's truth, wielded with justice. This is a really sovereign energy. This is the highest swords card. Swords are like communication and also like mental process. This is a very sovereign mental state. This is a very clear-minded state. And so allowing yourself this time really got you in a sovereign-centered place with more of a healed inner child energy. Feels like part of the reason why this inner child feels so much safer is because this is the stance of the inner parent. The inner parent is sort of like, I got you. I'm clear now on what needs to be done. I have a very clear sense of what's going on now. I have your back. You can count on me. You're safe. In your second row, what comes on the heels of that is blessings. This says blessings are coming. And to illuminate that even further, I have this star. It's so cool to me that the star card came out in your reading because this is your card. In the major arcana, this is the card for Aquarius. But what it means is that your hope is restored. This is sort of like the light that follows darkness. This is healing. This is make-a-wish energy. This is you calling in your blessings. And what I want to highlight is that this star is tethered to this string here that she's holding. And then what came out underneath it is balance. What's so striking about this to me is that they're like this in your reading. So it's like she's holding onto this string up to the star. There's a string going up and these strings coming down. And then she has this gift that she's received. So when I looked at this, what came to mind to me was as above, so below. This is you sort of in the energetic realm, making a wish for what it is that you're wanting to call in. And this is it coming into your 3D world, into your life, into your hands, tangibly. These two to me coming out together symbolize your manifestation coming to reality as a result of you being able to align more deeply with your inner knowing, with your center, and doing the inner child healing that you've been working so hard on doing. And that's why blessings are coming. It's really beautiful and amazing. What I also want to point out is that in your first two rows in this oracle deck, this card is a 10 and this card is a 19, which is also a 10 in terms of numerology because we would add the 9 and the 1. So you have 1010 here, which in terms of numerology indicates that you're on the right path. It's pretty incredible, actually. Okay, so in your next row, what you have is the Two of Cups and wisdom, along with your gifts are needed. This row to me really ushers in a message that has to do with your calling. And maybe it is connected to what it is that you're wishing for, to what it is that you're calling in. Maybe what it is that you're trying to call in has to do with your calling, with your destiny. This card came out in the last reading I did, which was for Capricorn. And I mentioned in that reading that a lot of times people think of the Two of Cups as having to do with romantic partnership, but really it's any sort of sacred union. And in your reading today, I'm going to say what I said to Capricorn, which is that it feels like it's talking about union with the divine, because in the wisdom card, she's reaching out her hand for the heavens. And so I want to talk about this card a little bit more because she's standing on a stack of books here, which clearly signifies her wisdom, her knowledge. But what this card is saying to me is that her wisdom alone isn't enough. That even though she has all of that knowledge, all of that wisdom to support her, she's missing a key ingredient of her power if she's not tapping into her spiritual connection with the divine, with source, with God, or whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that you feel like allows you to pour into your spiritual self. That is needed along with your practical wisdom. That creates a union that's extremely powerful for you and that allows you to tap very deeply into your real gifts, because your gifts are not only your knowledge base, your gifts are also your spiritual gifts. It feels to some degree like this is a call to tap more deeply into your spiritual gifts, or maybe you already are. Maybe that's part of what you were able to discover in this cocoon or make deeper contact with. Okay, so before I dive into your next and final row, I want to highlight some progression that I'm seeing through the rows I've already talked about into the final row. So like I said, this first row talks about the recent past cocooning or hanged man energy that you needed to sit in. And maybe you're still here right now. Maybe that's a process that's still underway for you. But in the second and third row, what I have are two waning cards. So in these cards, there's a big title and a small title on top of that. I rarely ever pay much attention to the small title on top. But when I looked today, both of these cards in the small title draw attention to the fact that these are waning moon cards. Waning moon energy is energy that is sort of like drawing in on itself for reflection, and I equate that with the need for less action, more reflection, more of a contraction. While we contract and go inward, we get so much knowledge and information. So it's sort of like, here's this cocooning energy, and then two cards that indicate this contraction, this process of learning and integrating and digesting experiences that you've been through, information, downloads that you've been receiving. And then in your third row is this powerful progression card. So it's as though you have this cocooning, this contraction, and then that allows this expansion. This would be the waxing moon instead of the waning moon. This would be the time to step out. When the moon is waxing, it's getting bigger, and that's harmonious with the energy of stepping out and starting new things and moving forward and progressing toward goals, taking practical steps. And the figure in this card is literally doing that. She is stepping forward with her arms wide open powerfully. But you see how this card did not come out until the other cards did. The other steps were important first. And perhaps that's why you're on the right track, because remember, you received that message as well. You're on the right track because this is where you're headed in this powerful position. So along with that, I got, you are a creator. This is your powerful creator energy. I feel like this is so powerful because when we are the most tapped into source is when we are also our most creative, because source energy is creative energy. Source being the ultimate creator. And so when we realize that we also have that energy inside of us, we are also recognizing our creative abilities, our natural state as creator beings. So you are a creator coming out with this. In this reading, it feels so special to me. And then along with that, you have the King of Cups. So the King of Cups coming along with progression, and you are a creator, is really interesting because remember, in your first row you had the King of Swords, and then in your last row you have the King of Cups. Look at these two kings. One is the king of the head, of the mind space, of clear mind. The other is the king of the heart, this steady, rooted, love-filled, love-based power center. These two together, unstoppable energy. Powerful, powerful energy. So I love that these are the bookends for this reading. There's such amazing, powerful synchronicity in your reading. What an amazing journey you've been on. I don't know where you feel like you fall in this progression, but wherever you are, I hope you can see yourself in here, because this is the potential energy on the table for you as part of this collective. It's really beautiful and amazing. Okay, I want to go ahead and get you an angel number, and then we'll close out your reading. Let's see what we can get for you here today, Aquarius. Oop. Okay, we have 1122, upward change, creation. Our thoughts are like seeds beginning to germinate. You may have seen some signs that your dreams are gradually coming true. These are signs that things are moving in the direction that you desire. Stay confident. 1122. Fruitful is the word right underneath the number. I love that so much. So upward change in creation. You are a creator. This is such a beautiful message to tie a bow around your reading. Okay, Aquarius, I'll leave your reading there. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. If it was, consider leaving some of your energy behind. Drop a like or a subscribe or leave a comment. That energy exchange is more powerful than you know, especially since readings are working with the energy of the collective, of those who are engaging energetically with the readings. So dropping some of your energy into that collective pool is really powerful. Take the very best care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.